Hello, my name is Cecily Westfall. I'm currently a graduate student at Eastern New Mexico University. As part of the individual professional presentation that is required for our ethics class, I have chosen employee crime control as my topic. More specifically, I will discuss the ethical dilemma surrounding employee theft. Using the definition from our textbook, Business Ethics, Ethical Decision Making in Cases, ethics is defined as behavior or decisions made within a group's values. Now, whether you consider that group to be the broader humanity or the more narrow American, there are still general values that the majority adhere to and support. But there are many times when individuals deviate from those values and behave in a manner that is deemed unethical. In a corporate situation, one controversial ethical dilemma arises with the issue of employee theft that goes beyond the obvious crime of embezzlement. Did you know that, according to Tweet Johansson, employee theft costs companies around $40 billion per year? Because of the severity of the issue, I felt it important to bring it to the forefront. I will provide examples of the types of items stolen, some implications of this type of theft, talk about reasons why employees do it, give a corporate perspective, indicate things a business can do to curb it, and finally, provide reasons why I feel employee theft at any level is ethically wrong. Employee theft can involve just about anything a company has of value. One common thing people misappropriate is general office supplies. This can be accidental, like taking a pen to a meeting and putting it in your pocket or purse afterward. After you get home, you realize it's still there and put it on your counter with the full intention of taking it back to work. Yet the pen never does quite make it back to the office. Or it can be more deliberate, like taking a few highlighters or expo markers out of the supply cabinet and sending them to school with your children. Another common thing people do at work that could be deemed employee theft is using the photocopy machine to make personal copies. Let's say you're looking for a place to eat lunch and you find a coupon online. It's pretty easy to hit that print button from your desk. What about personal calls? Someone, namely the company, has to pay for the monthly service and long-distance charges. This can also extend to the use of a work-provided cell phone. I understand that carrying two cell phones isn't practical, but if the company pays 100% of the bill and has to upgrade the plan to accommodate personal usage, there may be an issue. Time is another area that is often overlooked when talking about employee theft. Individuals are generally paid to work a certain number of hours. It is quite common for employees to submit a timesheet and be paid for an 8-hour day without having actually put in 8 hours worth of work. This could happen for a number of reasons. People take long lunches. They arrive to work late or leave early without claiming vacation time. Employees talk on the phone, discussing things that are not work-related, such as making medical appointments or scheduling car maintenance. People have personal conversations at work with their coworkers, talking about their weekends or sharing funny stories. Employees often use their work email address to receive solicitations or correspond with friends, using work time to read and respond to those messages. One of the big ones that is becoming an increasing problem is surfing the internet when they should be working. This could be online shopping or just simply reading the news. The implications of employee theft are felt on all levels of the organization, by the corporation as a whole, the supervisor, the employee, and also their coworkers. The biggest implication for the corporation is the financial impact. While these types of employee theft may seem small or insignificant on an individual scale, in aggregate, they can have a substantial effect on the company or institution. By increasing the cost of supplies and personnel, it reduces the amount of income that can be used for other things. What some people don't realize is that it can also affect the ability of a company to give raises to employees or fund other benefits such as health insurance or company picnics. Supervisors are also affected. They are forced to spend time dealing with the employee, whether it is in documenting the offenses or in disciplinary action. The employee themselves are less productive as their day is interrupted by the pull of these personal interactions. A typical day could consist of arriving 10 minutes late, then talking to coworkers about your evening and what you had for dinner. You sit down at your computer and go through your emails, of which about half of those are solicitations because you include your work email when filling out a frequent shopper card. Next comes an hour or so working, then a phone call to make a dentist appointment. Another hour, then it's time for lunch. Already half of the day has gone by, and you've put in about 2 hours of work. The best way to complete tasks is to do them uninterrupted, and this type of morning doesn't promote that. An individual that acts this way is also less motivated. This is shown through the lack of respect toward the company and the job they were assigned to do. There's also a lack of respect for coworkers who have to pick up the slack for the other worker. Typically, there's work that needs to be done as a whole. If one member of the team does less work, someone else needs to work more to maintain that equilibrium. This can lead to animosity among coworkers as well as a sense of inequality, leading to low morale. Employees choose to steal from their employers for a number of reasons. One is a perceived inequality that the employee has. If they feel that they earn less than others do or don't get paid enough for the job that they do, they may see taking small items or a few minutes here or there as perks that are justified. USA Today points out that employees are more likely to steal from what they consider to be a faceless company than they are from an individual. Another reason some employees steal is that some items are simply easy to take. A marker from an open supply cabinet when no one is looking, showing up a few minutes late. Employees think people won't notice, and in the long run, it adds up. If you're 5 minutes late to work each day and take an extra 5 minutes at lunch each day, that's almost an hour every week of work time lost. Employees can also be experiencing financial pressures outside of work. A single parent may not have a lot of money, and children need school supplies at the beginning of each school year. Expo markers aren't cheap, and schools are even asking for parents to bring in copy paper now. Another reason for an employee to steal is the change in society and how children are being raised. There has been a shift in public attitude from being self-sufficient to a sense of entitlement. This general change in our society has resulted in many of the entrants into the workforce having a different feeling toward the concept of employee theft, making it somehow less of a crime, if not one at all. Most corporations approach employee theft in a laissez-faire way. Many think of it as simply part of doing business. Retail businesses actually mark up their prices to include an allowance for employee theft of merchandise. But the issue of employee theft poses an ethical dilemma for firms. Do they accept it, or do they attempt to combat theft? In a professional setting, the cost of a pen is minimal. To police how employees use their pens and how many pens they have in their possession is not cost effective. Keeping track of every employee's comings and goings and computer usage is also not very realistic. It would take a lot of time for the supervisor to address every infraction. Corporations don't seem to realize their role regarding ethics in the workplace. By shrugging their shoulders at the whole idea of employee theft at the lower levels, they give the perception of condoning the behavior. This can lead to even more people participating in the theft and across more levels. There are many things a business can do to address the issue of employee theft in the workplace. The first is to be more proactive when it comes to hiring good people. Performing background checks and credit checks can help identify individuals who may not be so honest, and keeping them out of the organization may be wise. Internal methods of detection can be used also. Surveillance cameras and monitoring internet usage, while maybe projecting an aura of distrust, will certainly act as a deterrent for employees thinking of stealing, whether it is supplies, cash, or time. Time clocks can be a good way of keeping employees more honest about the time they arrive and leave work, as well as lunch breaks. A separation of duties is a great way to protect supplies. Having one person act as the gatekeeper for office supplies can help ensure that the misuse of these assets is minimized and discouraged. While these things will help, the most important thing a company can do to address employee theft is to pursue an ethical culture. This begins by establishing and disseminating the expectations regarding ethical behavior. This should be written and include a discussion of employee theft. Training should be developed and be mandatory for all employees. This training should emphasize the importance of ethics in the workplace and identify scenarios that many people may not think are wrong, such as taking a pen. This could include information about the financial implications of theft on the institution. Lastly, the company needs to enforce the rules at all levels. By doing so, they show the importance of ethical behavior, establishing fairness, and respecting not only the work environment, but also those around you. Employee theft at all levels is ethically wrong. We've been raised to believe that stealing is a crime, and at certain levels can even land you in jail. The more people engaging in theft at work will lead to a decline in our societal values. What makes taking a $2 pen any different than stealing $10,000 cash? Is one okay but not the other? The individual who feels they are justified in taking a stapler today may move on to more serious offenses like embezzlement. If some level of theft is acceptable, who gets to decide what that level is? While the punishments may vary, the law certainly does not indicate any threshold of acceptability. Furthermore, if it were okay, why not tell your boss that you're taking the stapler home? Why hide it? Because employees know it is wrong. In closing, from an ethical standpoint, employees should abide by one simple principle: don't take things that don't belong to you.